Welcome to tonight's call. My name is David Salo. I'm here with my wife, Michelle. We're IBOs here in Alpine, Utah, and we'd like to welcome everybody to the call tonight. We have a lot of exciting things going on in the queue. We have a gentleman from Grass Valley, California, just 2 days in. We're very excited that he's joined, and I'm sure there's a number of people out there that have just newly joined the company. We're excited that you're with us. One of the things, on Wednesday nights, we have an opportunity meeting at 7 o'clock. That's Mountain Standard Time, and we are broadcasting those live for those people who don't have the ability or the opportunity yet to join us at the corporate office in Pleasant Grove, Utah. And that's on Ustream. And I'll just give you a plug for that. It's www.ustream.tv/channel/Q Sciences. And you can tune in on that on your computer and watch live broadcast every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Tonight, we're very fortunate to hear from Tony Stephan. Tony is an amazing individual. I joined the company back in the end of January of this year, and I can't tell you the number of times that I've had the opportunity to talk to Tony, and he's been extremely helpful and extremely generous with his time and helping us understand this product that he holds so dear, a product that he developed 17 years ago and has this rich history. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Tony, and you can share your message tonight, and then I'll have some remarks at the end of Tony's call, his talk tonight. But, Tony, let's hear from you.
Well, great. Hey, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be with everybody, and there's so many good things that are happening. Just the other day, I spent some time with a lady from Utah whose little 11-year-old boy had suffered severely with about 5-6 different disorders. And to hear her statements about how wonderfully well he's doing, in fact, the best since his birth. And these are the kinds of things that we're hearing consistently from people. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to help people. And it comes out of strife, there's no question. Out of a terrible traumatic issue when I lost my first wife to a suicide. And her name was Debbie, just a wonderful lady. Always believed in the family. I believed in the family. And Debbie suffered with bipolar affective disorder 1 with rapid cycling. Her family is afflicted with it severely, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. It's a genetic dysfunction, but not always. It can afflict anybody. Doesn't have to have a genetic predisposition to it at all in that sense. And sadly, she ended up suiciding on January 30th of 1994. And it put me in a terrible place because at the time of her death, 2 of my children, Autumn, who was 23 years of age, and Joseph, 15, 240 pounds, absolutely out of control. The 2 of them were diagnosed with the same thing as their mother. Their grandfather, Debbie's father, had taken his life 16 years before my wife did. And so you can see the terrible things that it's doing to my family. And after visiting with many doctors, top psychiatrists, University of Calgary, all over, came to the conclusion that there really wasn't an answer that was going to make my son and my daughter stable. Now, when I say that, I'm not being critical because the doctors that were involved in our lives were good people, and they were doing the very best that they could with whatever they had. But sadly, it wasn't working. My son was on heavy doses of lithium. My daughter on 5 different medications at the end of this thing. Haldol, Rivotril, Epival, Ativan, and Cogentin. Just one of those is enough to knock a person down with the side effects, let alone 5. And both of them were very suicidal, and they were losing it. And I went on a prayer quest, there's no question, because you've all heard that saying that there's no atheists in the foxholes. And while I was never an atheist, I always believed in God. But I was in the foxhole of life. And I mean, I'm losing my family. I'm watching them absolutely disappear before my eyes, coming unlatched as a family. And I started praying and looking and searching and doing research in the different medical libraries, looking for answers, talking to neuroscientists. Spent a lot of time with Dr. Brian Kolb. He gave me a large book, Fundamentals of Human Neuropsychology, that he wrote. It's used at the university level in psychiatry and psychology classes. I just poured through that. I looked under every rock. And eventually I was led, and I say led, I mean that. I was led to find the answer in nutrition. And I started to place my son on various human nutrition cocktails. Some people say that Tony Stephan fed his son pig feed. Not really. And the reason why they say that is because I was working with a fellow who had 20 years of experience in the agricultural industry. And he had spent a lot of time working in the hog industry formulating feed, and had seen, not just an occasional time, but it was consistent, a syndrome called ear and tail biting syndrome, where these hogs rage and explode and attack one another in that sense. They become hyper-irritable and aggressive. And it was akin to what my son was going through. And when I did the comparison of the symptoms, and I know that sounds kind of strange, because it was basically a mood disorder that these animals suffer with, and it was found and often stated in the agricultural literature that it was caused by nutrient deficiency. And correlated that, put that together, and started to load my son with mega nutrients. And when I say mega, I don't mean that there were mega values, but rather the amount of the nutrients that he was taking on a daily basis, the variety of them. And within 30 days of putting him on the last cocktail that we assembled, he exhibited 0 symptoms of bipolar disorder. And that's what started us off. My daughter was next, February the 18th, 1996, 2 years after my wife's death. She went on the protocol, 5 different medications. She was clear of her meds, and that's not the goal here, don't get me wrong. But she was clear of her meds within 45 days, has never looked back, has written a bestseller in Canada called The Promise of Hope. It's now available. I understand that Q Sciences is carrying the book. And you might want to read it. It's a beautiful story. It's a journey as you read that story. But she got better, and she's never looked back. My son has never looked back. He married a young lady with severe depression and bipolar, and she's been well for years and years. We've now put over 100,000 people, well over 100,000 people, through this protocol, with tens and tens of thousands of them are absolutely normal. They've gone back to their career pursuits, back to their educational pursuits, back to their relationships where they came from when they became ill. And so it's a real story of hope and healing and health. That's what it's about. It's about bringing restoration to people who are struggling with these various mood disorders. There's now 22 studies that have been completed. That's the exciting part. The research it has wings of its own. It's just cruising, and we've never had to pay for any of that research. We wouldn't want to. That would actually taint it. But the interesting thing is that it just keeps happening with 22 medical journal publishings like the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry, number of them in the Journal of Child and Adolescent Psychopharmacology. These are peer-reviewed, well-accepted psychiatric medical journals. And I understand, in speaking to one of the main researchers, that there are four double-blind ADHD studies that are already up for publishing. They're in what they call review stage, and then it'll go into what they call impress, and they'll be published from there. But it's an exciting thing to see all of this occurring, and so many people are doing so well. And you don't have to have a major disorder to take this product. I always say, if you're the proud owner of a brain, like we all have, you need this product, because it's been proven to cause people to sleep better, to help them with stress and anxiety. And we all know with this stressful societies that we're living in here, especially in North America, the level of stress is incredible. But it's helping people in all of those wonderful areas. Back to you, David.
Tony, that was wonderful, and thank you so much. You know, that last comment you made was very important, that if you're the proud owner of a brain, you need this product. And the way I look at it, I spent 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry, and that's come back over to the light, I guess, if you will. What impresses me is that at the time there was 20 clinical studies, and since I've been there, we've added 2 more, and Tony has just said that there's 4 more queued up waiting to be published. That excites me, but more importantly, what excites me is how I've been on this product. I was introduced to it by Darren Hogue, and it made such a change in my life, and I helped my entire family on this. And what was interesting is that my wife sat there and watched me use the product, watched me put my kids on it, but I never offered it to her. And it was sitting on the sink in the bathroom, and she started taking it without my knowledge and made a huge change in her life. And she's a pediatric intensive care nurse. And I'm going to tell you, somebody that's very skeptical, and she is 200% in on this product and sharing this information. And so we've talked about it, and we've looked at the amazing stories that have come in, and we looked at what's happened in Tony's life. And if you have a product like this that is so effective, can you imagine what it does to just the everyday person that just needs help with their brain function, with clarity, and to feel the calmness and the happiness that is associated with this product? Everybody needs to be on this. And one of the things that we started doing is that not only were all my kids on this, but we wanted our grandchildren on it. And we talked to Tony, and Tony, I think you'll agree that kids ought to be on this product. So we started opening up the capsules and mixing it with drinkable yogurt. And that was fine as long as they didn't get it on the front of their tongue and they get that kind of that mineral taste. But we still did it. But lo and behold, you had this product called Berries, and I'm sorry, the other night I was misbranding it. I was calling it Berries and Cream, but it's Berries and Banana, which is the Q96 in a powdered form. I did that last night. I said the whole time Berries and Cream, and everybody's saying, "Do we have a new flavor?" I said, no, that was just me messing up. But it's Berries and Bananas. But it was Berries and Bananas, and we started on that. We had Darren actually gave us each a little bag to test, and we brought it home, and we put it in our grandkids. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter and a 1.5-year-old grandson, and we put it in his bottle, and we put it in her smoothie, and absolutely loved the product. Absolutely. And it does. My little granddaughter's a little OCD, and we've seen a big change in her since she's been on it. So for those people that may have a hard time swallowing capsules or whatever, the Berries and Bananas is an excellent choice. And again, if you want your kids on it, all you have to do is mix this up and put it in there in a smoothie, and it goes well. And I sorry, my wife is joining here, and I kind of stole her thunder. I get so excited about it. I'm very excited about the whole Q product line. And Berries and Bananas is an excellent addition to that, and we've seen it. our grandkids love it. So now we're trying to we've got a neighbor of ours and told it, and one of the big things was that they couldn't swallow capsules, and we told them about it, and they bought a container of the berries and banana, and they absolutely love it. We actually tried to get them on the line tonight, and they weren't available. So you would have heard from them tonight as well.
What's really nice, David, is the fact, too, that it has a blend of pea protein made from peas. It's a vegetable, of course, right? And it's a full-bodied, full-spectrum protein that has a lot of amino acids in there. And that's wonderful because we need the amino acids to help produce the proper neurochemistry, the neuropeptides, the neurotransmitters, this kind of thing. And so there's 7 grams of pea protein in there, and we sweeten it with stevia. It's all natural, and we've got natural raspberry flavoring, not this artificial stuff, and we don't have artificial coloring, and we also have strawberry flavoring in there. But it just makes for just an incredible, just a delightful flavored product that children and even adults, if you're getting tired of taking the capsules, sometimes we do a little bit. But to take this berries and banana blend, you've got 2 capsules in the scoop, and it's a 17-gram scoop. So you're getting a lot of nutrition from that, and you've even got the benefit of the protein, which is going to give you the amino acids to help so that you sleep better, you're calmer, you're able to fix on things, concentration powers. We're just finding wonderful, wonderful testimonies all over the place from it, David.
I wholeheartedly concur on that. Tony, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. We've got a kind of a shortened call. I'd just like to tell you there's a lot of exciting things happening at the Q. For those of you that, if you ever have the opportunity to get to corporate here in Pleasant Grove, I encourage you to do so because there is such an energy there. And, the days when Mark are there and Darren and Tim, and you get Ken Forrest and Roger, Scott Malone, Jimmy Cossert, I'm telling you, there is so much energy there. It's a lot of fun to be there.
Well, David, you've got an upcoming session on the 28th in Salt Lake, and so a lot of people are going to want to come to that as well, and I'll be speaking there, and a lot of the other corporate people, and Autumn Stringham, my daughter, will be able to be there and talk about her book, and so that'll be a wonderful event that a lot of people are already looking forward to. I've had a lot of emails asking me about that upcoming event, so that's great that you're doing that.
Well, we're doing that, and remember, we've got the Northwest meeting on the 21st of September. That's up in Bellevue, Washington. You're going to be up there with Autumn, speaking again with the corporate folks. We have ours on the 28th, and I know that corporate, my understanding is that they're going to be going out to various cities across the United States starting right after that. So I don't know all the dates on that, but I know that you can go to the Q back office and start looking at the calendar and watching to see what pops up and see what's happening, what's coming to your state and city. It's a great time to be in the Q. We had people that joined us tonight that have just been 2 days in. We've got a group coming in tomorrow that's joining. It's just exciting to see where we're at and where we've been. I joined the company back in mid to end of January, and to see where it was then and to see where we are now, it's phenomenal, and I can't wait to see where it's going to be in another 6 months. I think Darren said that almost every month has been record-breaking as far as his goals and predictions, and we see that happening. And I'm fortunate enough that I get to see it firsthand at the corporate office, but for those of you who aren't there, if you don't want to take my word for it, pick up the phone and call Darren or Mark. They'll be happy to tell you the exciting things that are going on at the Q. So with that being said, I would just like to thank everybody for being on the call and look forward to seeing you Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. There's always something going on at the Q. So again, thank you all for coming tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on, David. Appreciate that.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. Good night, everyone.